Yo, what is going on, my dudes? For this video, I'm actually going to be answering the questions you guys asked me about a week ago or so. And yeah, so, anything you had interest in asking about me, you guys asked on that video. And now I'm here to finally give my response. So without any further ado, let's jump right in the video. Let's go! Alright guys, so before we I'm going to categorize these in basically, what they fall under in terms of, a lot of these questions are similar in some regards and different in others. So first off, I want to jump into the RuneScape specifically related ones. We're going to jump right into those. So first off, I want to tackle what is my noobiest moment as a max player as well as my biggest fail on RS, because I think they are both one and the same. So I maxed about in 2012, and that was right around the time or shortly after Calfight King had just come out, and it was a really big boss at the time. It was like, if I'm not mistaken, the first one that used EOC in terms of like it used abilities back at you. Anyways, Drygores were really expensive as they were the only tier 90s, and it actually pushed me and elevated me into a level of just having everyday mundane things or whatever to being able to afford just about anything in the game at that time. So it really jumped my wealth tremendously when that boss came out. Anyways, I had just bought like all my next sets. I had almost every Drygore set at the time because we were doing the boss a lot, made a lot of money. I was really wealthy in, by those standards. Not so much today because I don't really give a fuck about making money anyways. But anyways, I went to Nex with my Drygores, wanted to test them out with a friend, and I can't remember why or what happens, but long story short, I died, and that was, terribly scary. I had my grave in the next room, quickly panicked, grabbed my key, ran back to the next room as soon as I could to get my stuff back. Went into the room, like that Nex is in. I died a second time because I was wearing nothing, but the second time I had my key on me. And back then, if you died with the key, it destroyed. So I had to go get back another key, and since the only thing in my inventory at that time was the key, it didn't drop a new grave because I had nothing in a grave to drop, so it still kept my grave from the first death. And I had to go and get kill count, or not even kill count, I had to go and kill the different monsters to assemble the key. As you would expect, there was definitely not enough time to do all that. I could not get in time even with my friend blessing my grave back then, so I did lose a Torval full helm and an offhand Drygore. Now, by today's standards, that doesn't seem like much, but both of those were 100 mil each, so I lost 200 mil off a very stupid death. Back in the day, I should not have brought in my key. That's like, now I think you keep your key, so it doesn't really matter anymore. But back then, that was like, you definitely never, ever, ever do that. And I did it as a max player. Probably my biggest fail ever. Never had a death where I lost so much money since then. That was 200 mil down the drain. At the time, was a lot of money. So that was probably my biggest fail ever. It is what it is. I learned from it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Anyways, moving on, what is my favorite thing on RuneScape or RS3? Probably PVM. It doesn't really matter if that's Slayer or, I know a lot of people don't consider Slayer PVM, but it is by very definition. Probably Slayer or bossing, although I don't do any more Slayer because I am 200 mil. So mainly just bossing, and I really don't do much of that other than my Reapers every day, and I usually choose solo Reapers like Magister, Araxi, that kind of thing. But yeah, overall, I would have to say it was PVM. What is my favorite boss? I don't really do a whole lot of bosses in terms of variety nowadays because I just do my Reapers and I try to, choose some of the similar Reapers. But back then, I used to do a lot of Rots. Even about a year ago, I used to do a lot. I haven't been to Rots in a very long time, but I've had very fun moments with Rots. Like I mentioned previously, KK made me a lot of money, and back then when that boss came out, I had a lot of fun with friends that don't even play anymore, but it was a lot of fun. By today's standards, it's probably one of the least favorite bosses for a lot of people. I don't know why, but at the time, I thought KK was an amazing boss. Really loved it. Maybe because it was so new and fresh with the combat system, but I guess right now I would say probably Ross, even though I haven't done it in a long time. Maybe Magister because I just like the DPS race. I don't know. It's not really that engaging in terms of a boss, but it's okay. I just like how you have to, DPS if you want the most out of it and you want the safest kills. Other than that, raids are awesome. Really love raids. Yakumaru fight, I really wish there was like more like that where people had specific roles and we worked together to, get the kill. Things like that. Really would wish there was more in the game. But yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Next up, what is my overall wealth in game? I don't think I have a lot of money in, like, I don't know. I just personally don't feel like I'm that rich. Some people may feel that way, but I really don't. Here's a screenshot of my wealth evaluator. It's about 2.8 bill. I can barely even afford a tier 92 if I wanted to, or like Soliske's staff to be specific. I don't think I have a lot of money, but I have enough to where the game is 100% enjoyable and I could do pretty much anything I ever want. So in that regard, I guess I'm rich in the sense that, I'm not really bound by much in the game. I'm not struggling for cash at any given time, but at the same time, I obviously don't have party hats or tier 92s left and right. So take that with what you will. Maybe you say I'm wealthy, maybe you say I don't. I personally don't really think I am all that wealthy, but I'm not struggling, so there's that. Next up, this is a silly question. Will you join Zemregal in his campaign to destroy the city of Varrock and obtain the Incamdo shield? I don't know. I have a comp cape, so that means I've done every quest. I don't know if you know this, but that directly means that I was involved in the foiling of Zemregal's plans, not only in this dimension, but an alternate dimension in a town called New Varrock. So, unfortunately, I am 100%, in terms of my character, against the plannings and workings of Zemregal. Hopefully that answers your question. Anyways, guys, that concludes RuneScape-related questions. Now we're going to move on to some personal questions. So without any further ado, let's just jump right into those. So what work do you do IRL? What do you think gives you quality of being very consistent and just hammering out every single day, making these vids? Can you say you're also like this in other aspects of your life? Currently, I am not working at any particular job. I just devote most of my time to YouTube and making that work. If you're curious, I may go into other details in my past because I've worked a plethora of different varying jobs, from like fast food to construction to tutoring in college to working at a factory. Like, I've got all kinds of experience in various different ways, and I have been very smart about where I put my money. So financially, I'm not in a bad situation, but currently I'm just focusing on YouTube. That also bleeds into the next question of how I'm able to be consistent, because I do have a lot of free time where I can allocate to just making these videos every single day. However, I've been doing it for about 2 years now, or maybe like a year and a half or so, to be honest. And I've gotten into a system to where even if I was working a job full time, I would still be able to consistently come out with these videos in the same way. You wouldn't even notice that I was working a full-time job on top of this, because I'm very particular about the way I manage my time. That being said, I am that way in other aspects of my life, in other regards not. Honestly, if I'm lazy about some things, then I'm just lazy and I just won't do it. Especially when it comes to things like RuneScape, to be honest. If I'm motivated, I will go for any goal and I'll never stop, and I'll just go ahead and get it. For example, like maxing or comping or anything like that. But if my heart's not in it, I'm just not going to bother and I'll fall off, to be quite honest. I've done a couple things where I had goals in RuneScape where my heart just wasn't in it after a while and it just falls off. I mean, I think we all have that kind of thing in us. It's kind of a human quality, I would think. But yeah, in some regards, yes, I am that consistent in my life. In others, no, obviously not. Next up, do I have any training, education, or experience in financial strategy? Definitely not. No, I do not. That being said, when it comes to my YouTube channel, I do have strategy in mind when it comes to the way I make my videos, how often I make my videos, and the way I try to structure my whole entire YouTube channel to maximize those kinds of things that give me things like exposure, recommended, showing up on people's recommended. I do think of those kinds of things consciously as I make my videos. So there is a strategy level to that, but I did not have any type of training whatsoever. It's more so I just observe other YouTubers or observe other people in this kind of medium and kind of replicate that. So what I've developed so far has seemed to have been working, and I will try to evolve it also as I go along to hopefully even expand further. But it is a learning process for me right now. It's not something I had prior knowledge of. So going in it, I was very rocky and I got, my footing after a while, and things have been going smooth ever since. I do try to change things up every once in a while, but by and large, it's me, trial and error through and through. Next up, am I entrepreneurial minded? I would think so, yes. I think any YouTuber is. Anybody who is actually taking the platform seriously and really wants to have some kind of success on the platform is. Because, I don't know, the type of person that makes you want to go out and become a YouTuber or have the drive to do anything like this is the kind of mind that you would call entrepreneurial, in my opinion. I don't really see myself doing a 9 to 5. I prefer to create things. I prefer to build things. I prefer to, be creative in that sense and try to make a living off of the things I create rather than having somebody tell me what to do. It's just the way I've always operated, and I think that's kind of what lends to, I wouldn't say I have massive success on YouTube, but I've accumulated whatever success I may have currently by having those kinds of mindsets. So hopefully that answers your question. Next up, pancakes or waffles? I am not really particularly leaning towards any of those, to be quite honest. Both pancakes and waffles are awesome and have their benefits to, make each of those desirable. Pancakes are fucking dope because you can have things like banana pancakes, chocolate chip, all kinds of different flavors. I mean, blueberry, and they're easy to cut up, and they're fucking bomb. Straight up, they're bomb. Waffles, I really like how they have little cups where you can put the syrup inside. That makes them really appealing. Although, if I think about it, I probably eat waffles more than pancakes, but doesn't mean I don't appreciate pancakes, though. And finally, our last question for this Q&A. Do you prefer pigs or sheep? In a romantic sense, of course. Well, there's only really one clear answer, to be quite honest.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Oh, it's an inside joke, so you probably won't understand it. It's a personal friend of mine on my Discord. Link down below if you want to pop into the Discord, by the way, like that plug. Have a chat with me. Anyways, yeah, that wraps up the Q&A. I really enjoyed the questions. Hopefully you enjoyed the answers, and I will see you guys again for another RuneScape news video shortly. Appreciate you guys watching. I am out. Peace.